Welcome in for another special episode of Blaze the Bingo Hall. I am your host with the most, YoungLurch. Today we are joined by a special guest. He is the owner of the Strasburg Flea Market in Strasburg, Virginia, Mr. Thomas Newcomb.
Hey, nice. How you doing there, bro?
Welcome in, Thomas.
Mhm.
So you decided to step out of the bingo hall today and blaze it with your boy YoungLurch. I appreciate you for coming by. I think you're a really interesting individual. I've been following you on Facebook for quite some time. It's kind of how I came across your store, area, and kind of got to know your personality a little bit through social media without even knowing you. So let's start off there. You're a father, you're a business owner, a wrestling fan, obviously a serious collector. You have a huge inventory. You can see displayed behind you some of just a little bit of what you have in your store. What are you originally from the Shenandoah area, the Strasburg area?
Oh yeah, I've lived here my entire life. I was born in Winchester, grew up for the first bit in Middletown, which is like 10 minutes down the road, and then moved to Strasburg. Been here ever since.
Okay. And you've been in business for close to 25 years at this. Is it at this location, or have you been at multiple locations?
Well, originally about 25 years ago, me and my mother started the flea market about down the block, and then during COVID, the landlord decided they want to raise the rent more than I could afford. So I ended up moving to my current location, which is a bit smaller, but it's nicer. It's got air conditioning and heat that actually works, unlike the previous one. And it looks more like a store. So I'm happy with the move, even though I lost space.
Yeah, you guys. So you said you've lost space at this location.
Yeah, oh Lord, man, the previous location was 10 times the size of the shop.
Really?
But we had so many dealers that really didn't work it or bring anything interesting in that when we lost all that space in those dealers, we didn't lose that much. Because a lot of people just didn't have time to work it or live too far away to come in. And with a store like this, especially now, you've got to depend on regulars because tourism is not exactly existent right now, at least in this area.
And that's usually just a one-off, right? You know, they're going to come through one time, buy something, and go back to their state or wherever they're from. They're not, like you said, they're not a regular. That's a repeat customer.
Actually, I'm very lucky. I'll have people that rearrange their vacations to swing by just to see the shop.
That's awesome. You can't beat that, right?
Well, I tell you, I mean, between the people that see me on the internet like you, I mean, because it's on Facebook, which is facebook.com/best on the block, or like my Instagram, which is at Strasburg Flea, which I'm a little goofier on that one. Because Facebook, you get the older folk. Instagram, you can say screwed up shit,
Yeah, each one's got their own little niche of what you can say and what you can't say. I know like TikTok's a little bit stricter, and that's another reason why it pushed me to come onto the YouTube platform, just because you can have a little bit more of a free speech and what you can say. I know there are obviously a lot of things you can't say, but I'm not really crossing those types of lines. I'm just looking to have conversations, real conversations, and not be audited for what I'm just having a normal speaking pattern for. But yeah, I mean that's cool that people rearrange their vacations just specifically to make you a stop on their itinerary, because hey, it's an awesome place, like you said. Just finding out about you on social media, and that was what blew my mind a little bit when you said this is actually a downsize, because I thought it was pretty relatively a big space. Of course, I'm sure you could always want more. That would just mean more inventory, more stuff for you to collect.
I get so much.
So right now, it's your store, basically, the collection, the collectibles, and then you have I believe a Wiccan store and a skateboard shop in there as well. That those are like consignments. Is that the correct term used?
I consign spaces to dealers, and then they they fill it up, and then I will sell it for them. We've got a Wiccan lady, we got a skateboard shop, we got a vintage t-shirt guy, we got a lady that has women's clothes, we got Western wear, Guy in the back does Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic. Huge Magic guy. They actually have games that they play at the restaurant down the street twice a month. They'll do every other Monday, and they'll play Magic at Boxell Office Brewery. So if anybody's in the area that likes Magic, it's free to play. If you want to pop in there one Monday to play in them, have at.
Yeah, it's definitely that's a big community as well. I don't know too much about it. I know there's a game place, I guess it's like a more of a like the Magic board game type of thing down the street from me. That that's what they do. Because I thought it was like a secondhand like video game store, and they're like, oh no, this is like Magic and like everything around that realm. I don't really know too much.
I love it, brother. I mean, it's not my speed, but then again, to each their own. I never could get into Dungeons and Dragons either, and
that too. Yeah, that I kind of keep that all in that same kind of realm right there. So Thomas, you are running the store now. From what I've gathered, it's a very family oriented place. Your son and your daughter also help you run the store. Tell me about that. Or is that your goal to help? Is that your goal to pass this down to them eventually? Or
I mean, my daughter doesn't really care as much about this, but once I'm done with it, hopefully, if everything's still going on and we still have the shop, it goes to my son Cody. But that's, like I said, we just have to get through the current economic times for me to have something to give them to. But yeah, I'm lucky to have a good relationship with all the kids, and that's to me the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, family is the most important. Family and your health are the most important. I always say that. So yeah, I mean, if you have a close family like that work hand in hand with you, and they're not out doing their own thing, and you're not worried about them, that's an ideal situation to have. You have them close knit to you, and like you said, your plan is to help pass it down to them, and hopefully they have that same passion and interest that you have.
Oh, Cody loves to collect himself, so he's got over 5,000 Funko Pop, believe it or not.
Wow. Yeah. I know they can get extensive too, as far as just like any collection, I guess. You can get into some really pricey ones. I know they fell off a couple of years ago as far as like the pricing. I guess like the market dropped on them a lot. Like a lot of people were trying to get out of them. I guess maybe the popularity wasn't what it was.
I don't know. The thing of it is with collectibles, anything that kind of goes higher in night generally doesn't keep its value. And Funko's almost, some of them were like overnight, like whoo. So something like that can't sustain itself. Mixed with the Funko Pop app that everybody uses, the prices are way off if you compare it to something like eBay or a store, what you can actually get, which kind of leads to a disconnect because people come in thinking they're going to get thousands of dollars for these Funko Pops, and unfortunately, I have to tell them I'm not interested because they're just not. I mean, I have some like medium priced ones to cheap ones, but I'm not going to invest in anything big.
It's like the people that come in to try to sell you stuff, and they're like, well. On eBay, it says $150. It's like, well, that's what someone listed it for. That's not what it sold for. So there's a big difference in what it last sold for, and then what you're asking for it. What you're asking for it isn't what it's worth. And people are like, oh, it's like, okay, see ya.
You could shit in the box and put it on eBay for $300, but it don't mean your shit's worth $300.
Hey, it depends on who it is. It depends on whose it is. If it's a celebrity, you know what I'm saying, they might get their worth out of it, because I've seen people fart in jars and sell them recently. So it depends.
I heard that story about Tessa Blanchard. So,
I don't know that one. I mean, I know a lot of scrutiny she's going through now, but
supposedly,
something in her bag, right? Somebody.
No. Supposedly, I don't know if they ever proved it was her or not, but she was recording herself poop to sell it to people.
What?
Allegedly. So nobody saw it.
Well, I got a buddy of mine that I met on social media. His name's Couch Potato. Shout out Couch Potato. He's a big Tessa Blanchard fan. So once he finds out that, I don't know if he's going to be in the market for it, but hey, I can at least let him know.
Yeah, I mean, I can poop. I'm not going to pay for somebody to look at somebody else do it,
Yeah, I mean, that's you need a niche sick individual for you to capitalize on that one.
Again, I've got some of those trading cards that Charlotte Flair kissed.
Yes,
that shit's creepy as hell. I don't know, but
it is
people, they love it. So
big money. When I seen those kiss cards at your store, yeah, people, if I had a whole collection of those, I would be making money hand over fist, just because those people love them. They love them. I want the kiss card. And then you have people that do like their own variations of the kiss card, not through like Tops or like one of the major, suppliers, and they'll get custom ones done. They'll bring in a celebrity or a star and have her kiss 2,500 of them or whatever it is, and they make their money off of them off there, because again, that's another niche market of people like, oh, she kissed this. It's like, okay. But so I wanted to talk about the social media. So that's how I discovered you. And like you said, you don't really take yourself too seriously on social media. So that's what really intrigued me, to be like, man, I want to stop by this store, because it's not just another store, another collectible store, whatever. It's like, hey, this guy's got some personality. He's a character. And some of the things that I've seen you post that like maybe some people wouldn't be as lighthearted about or want to put on social media. But I think if you were able to share your story, there's someone out there that might be going through the same exact thing, because I know recently, as of last year, you had to have a toe amputated. So that's something that, a major life obstacle that you have to go through. But I mean, looking through your social media, you had like toe drawings with wings and RIP angels and halos over top of your toe from 1974 to 2024. So tell me about that. Like, what is that just your personality bleeding through into social media?
Yeah, I tell my daughter I'm either really good at this shit or really bad at it. I'm not sure, but I get bored easy, because I started out with just regular, like, this just came in today. And after like 2 days, I'm like, this shit sucks. So I try to amuse myself, and hopefully that amuse other people. Like I said, the Facebook's a lot milder than the Instagram. That one's mostly jokey.
Okay.
So enjoy that. If you're on Instagram, you should definitely check the Instagram account out.
Yeah,
But
I just followed you on Instagram recently. So I'm on your Instagram and your Facebook. Are those the only two social medias you're on, or do you have anything else?
Cody's doing a TikTok for the shop. I don't have TikTok. I legally, I'm too old to have it, I think. So I'm like, this is your thing. So he's doing that. I'm working up a Whatnot, because I want to start doing some auctions to try that out. Because unfortunately, right now, it's tough for retail. So you need to branch out a bit in order to survive. So
I'm glad.
trying to diversify like my income.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was actually one of my topics that I wanted to talk about. When I came in person, I think it was last week or the week before, I mentioned Whatnot to you because I thought you would be a perfect candidate for Whatnot. I'm a seller on Whatnot as well. I've done decent, but I have nowhere near the inventory and collection that you have. And someone like yourself, that say is just in the Strasburg, Virginia area, this opens you up to the entire country and the rest of the world, because there's also international buyers on there as well. So say there's a international buyer that's looking for something specific that you have. Hey, go on Whatnot, put a bid in, get your auction going, because I think you're, like I told you before, I think you're going to do great on there. Once you're able to go live and get the little knit things worked out on there that you have to find out your how to work it and everything. But once you get in there, I think you're going to be good. I mean, you guys have your cut right for this app Whatnot. If anybody isn't familiar with it, it's called Whatnot. It's a website. It's like a live auction website where you can just bid collectibles. There's all kinds of things on there. I'm not a spokesperson or a sponsor. I'm just a seller on there. But like I was telling Thomas before, I think that's really going to open you up to a whole new market, and probably will surprise how well you'll do on there.
Well, see, one of the reasons I don't do a lot of online sales is just a lot of what I have is very condition based. And especially when you're doing something like comics, everybody's got their own idea of what the value is, like, or the if it's a 4.5 or a 6.5 or whatever the hell.
Even between the grading companies, you're going to get something different.
Well, I knew a guy. guy, a friend of a friend, I guess, a friend of an ex-friend. And he had this card, and he sent it in, and he didn't get the grade he wanted, so he busted it, sent it right back. Got a lesser grade, so he busted it again, sent it back. Third time, he got the grade he wanted. So it's all subjective.
It's all about the person who's grading it that day too.
And the thing of it is too, with those grading companies, at least the major one on comics, I believe, unless they've changed it, depending on how expensive it is, that's how much you have to pay. So it's a flat scale with value.
Yep.
Which to me is a conflict of interest, because, you know, if I get more money, if I graded higher, why the hell wasn't I graded higher? You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, it's like you said, it becomes a conflict of interest when it's like, oh, well, these cards cost this much to grade because we know that they're going to bring you in more value. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, it's kind of a catch-22, but it's the same thing. Kind of like I had spoke to a recent guest about the gaming situation. Like, yeah, you pay $120 for this game, but then you have to pay, you know, another $100 to even be good at it, and for your character to be good, or even to get them, you know, leveled up. And it's like he mentioned to me, like, hey, well, they're losing money because people like us and, you know, are streaming themselves playing those games, and they're getting monetized off of that. So I understand that, but at the same time, it's like, you know, like the card companies, the grading companies, all those. It's like I can't remember which one it was recently, but I know they were like inflating the values of like it was like Mario Kart, like an original Nintendo Mario Kart. They inflated the value. They had bidders coming in that they knew to run it up, which made the value higher, and then it fell out. I can't remember what the company was, but that wasn't that long ago.
yeah, heard about that.
I'm sure that probably happens all the time anyway. But how did you get into collecting, Thomas? Is it something you've always done? Is it someone, was it your mom that got you into it, or is it just you don't remember?
Let me pause for 1 second.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So we're back. We had a little bit of hiccup. We are filming live with Thomas right now, and he had a customer he had to take care of. But the question I asked you, Thomas, is how did you get into collecting? Was that something you've done always as a child? Do you remember how you got into it? Or
well, my family's always been doing yard sales. One of my earliest memories is we used to have a big family yard sale every year, and my aunts and my grandma and my mom and, you know, the kids, we'd all have this huge yard sale. And over the years, mom would be at the flea market, on the outside flea market, and do this and that. And then she started getting inside booths in various places. And then the place we were in, the fella that was running it, he got took over by another one who was, they weren't good. They made it so uncomfortable and unpleasant, mom decided she was going to give it up. And then before she could go in there and tell them, hey, I'm out of here, they sent her a letter, because they were so bad they didn't even want the people that had the booths in their location to talk amongst themselves, because they didn't want them comparing notes because they were stealing. Yes.
I was gonna say, yeah, don't want them sharing notes, like you said.
Yeah, allegedly, so nobody sues my ass. But she was going to quit, and then they sent her a letter saying they were going to throw her out. And spite is a very powerful motivator with my family. We're nice people, but if you piss us off, we're like, you know what, you. So
I can relate.
she took over the whole goddamn organization, and then we rebranded it into our own. And she ran it for a while with me, and then when she could no longer do so and eventually passed, I took over and I brought the kids in. So I've been doing this pretty much since birth, in one way or the other. Personally, I don't collect much. I'm a big movie fan, so I've got thousands of Blu-rays and DVDs, and of course, wrestling DVDs and Blu-rays out the wazoo. And then some books, a lot of music, but I'm not like even though I sell tons of comics, I don't have a large personal collection. I mean, I've got graphic novels and collections, a couple bookcases of that, but I don't have like thousands of comics or thousands of video games. But I've always had an interest in this type of stuff, and I enjoy being around it and talking to people about it. It's a good fit.
You would say that I would assume you are a big advocate for physical media then, right?
Yeah, because well, wrestling's the perfect example.
Yes.
Jim Johnson, he retained the rights to all the classic theme music that he created. So I don't know if they're doing it now because I don't have, well, at least on the Raws, because I don't have Netflix. But they're starting to take the original music off the streamed WWF stuff, which to me that changes the whole thing.
Yep.
Because like when I would be watching like the Jim Crockett stuff on the network or now like Peacock, and the Midnight Express pop up, and they're not playing the theme to Midnight Express, which was their theme song back in the '80s, which they didn't have the rights to use. It's not the same. But in my head, when I hear that do 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 do, I'm like, oh, shit, here
Gets
comes.
you going. Yep.
Now imagine that with Stone Cold. The glass breaks and some generic music, not like his, and that's where. So it's good to have that. And there's some stuff they're pulling and they're not putting on the net.
You know, pushing the line stuff. But yeah, that kind of stuff maybe shouldn't be on there. But I agree with you 100%. I was someone that when DVDs were phased out, I was like, oh, I'm like, what do I want DVDs for anymore? It's the same thing like VHS. But then, like you said about wrestling, when you go back and you watch, like for me, like you go back and you watch like ECW, and these guys are coming out to like Pantera and Metallica and stuff like that. All that stuff's gone. That's all dubbed over with some generic little sample music that they found to put over. It's like the first time I realized it, like watching Peacock, I was just like, what is this? Like you said, it's not the same feeling. Like you can't get into it almost. And it's like, I will go and find as many original copies of DVDs or VHSs that I can that have that original music on there. And like you said, physical media, you can't get rid of it. So, you know, I have a ton of DVDs underneath my entertainment stand of wrestling. But yeah, I mean, I may not watch them all the time or ever, but when I want to, I can. And it's there the way I remembered it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's unfortunate.
There's things that are going out that they're taking off of streaming that are not going to exist because there's no physical copy out there.
You're right.
You know,
especially the old stuff, the really old stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, even new stuff like HBO's getting ready to drop a bunch of their programming, like 700 hours, I think I read, and it's like a lot of that stuff is HBO original stuff. If they don't give it to, like, say, Tubi to put on there, there'll be no way to watch it unless there's a physical release. Yeah. Or like the other one time I wanted to show my daughter Hedwig and Angry. Great freaking movie. And it wasn't streaming anywhere. I had to go dig out my DVD. Oh, I got a Blu-ray now, but back then it was DVD. Just to show it to her because I couldn't stream it anywhere. And I've got every service except for Netflix and Apple. So that's
there's a few movies like that like, you know, it may not be that popular, but you know it means something to you, or it was a really good movie that you're like, hey, I want you to see this, but then you go to find it and it's like, I can't find it anywhere. Like you said, if you have that copy, it's a good thing to have, because sometimes it's like you got to fight to try to find it anywhere, whether it's eBay, a store, or whatever that you're looking for. You got to find the right spot, I guess.
Video games, the same thing.
Yes.
One of my favorite games is Bookworm. PopCap put it out. They pulled it. You can't download it anywhere anymore. Thankfully, they did a DS release years ago. I've got a copy of, and it's not even the best version of the game. The best version game was the Kindle version, but it's good enough to where I can play it. But I'll most likely never get a chance to play the Kindle version again because they pulled it. Because when you buy a game digitally, you only own the right to play it. you don't own anything at all. Just like you're basically leasing the right. And if they pull that game, no matter how many hours you have in it, it's done. And no matter how much you pay for it, it's done. So
do you remember a few years ago the Flappy Bird game or app that was really popular, and then they took that down, and now it's supposed to be making a resurgence, but it's not really the same, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess it's same sort of thing, I guess. But
oh yeah, they did that for years. The only way you could have a copy of the Scott Pilgrim game was if you had downloaded it on your PS3 and still had a copy, because
okay.
took it. I mean, it was out of print for a long time. They finally reissued it.
Yeah, I know that's just any type of thing like that, like the games, the cards, the comics. It's they all got their own ebbs and flows to what's working for them and what's not, and what's going to happen with their market, so to say. Let's shift over to wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So, who is your Mount Rushmore of wrestling, if you have one?
Favorite or best?
Your personal favorite.
Well, my personal favorite growing up was always Magnum T.A.
Okay.
He was amazing at the time. I'm not sure if he was. I mean, it was never like a Flair, but he was great to watch. He was my favorite. He had his car.
Do you believe he was on the cusp of becoming like a Flair or the next top guy before his accident?
Yeah, I believe he won Wrestler of the Year in Pro Wrestling Illustrated the year before he had his crash. He beat Hogan in that, and I'm pretty sure those were legit polls back then. So
Yeah.
it's definitely being groomed to be a world champion. And then unfortunately, just got in that car accident. And, I'm glad to see he survived and he's still getting around. But, of course, he never was able to wrestle.
Never was the same. Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate guys like that, pretty much, or, they're right on the cusp of stardom, and something like that unfortunately happens. And it's like, it just totally derailed everything for him, So, do you have so Magnum T.A? Do you have three other guys you would put up on that Rushmore with him?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that era; it could be any era that you.
Well, going personal favorites. Eddie Gilbert's a guy that has never got his due. They're going to do a Dark Side of the Ring on him this season. Hopefully, then people realize that the man was amazing. He was my favorite run with him was UWF, which is Bill Watts' territory.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, to this day, was my favorite territory, because you had like the Freebirds, you had Sting when he just got out of the Blade Runners. Actually, you had the Blade Runners for a brief period in there, and then Rick Steiner started there. You had One Man Gang, Hacksaw Jim Duggan before he went to WWF. They made him kind of jokey. Ted DiBiase before he became the $1 Million Man. It was an amazing amount of talent in that one.
So you watched that as a kid, right?
Yeah, in the 80s.
And that would come on when? You said when?
It would come on after school.
Okay.
My buddy and I, we'd run home from school, and they had an hour of wrestling and an hour of Morton Downey Jr. So that was our after school treat every damn day. We'd run home, and each day was a different fed, and then Morton Downey Jr. which if you don't know, was imagine like Jerry Springer but sleazier.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of it, so I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, actually, he was at the one WrestleMania, because he's the guy that was on the Piper's Pit, where Roddy Piper used the fire extinguisher on him, so he kept lighting the cigarette.
I think I remember that.
Yeah,
I'll have to go back and look at that clip.
Mm-hmm. And I got two more, but let me pause for 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead,
brother.
And we're back. So go ahead and you have two more for us, right? Personal
yes.
Mount Rushmore.
Of course, Dusty Rhodes was always my big favorites growing up. I was always more of an NWA kid, so I freaking hated Hogan. And I was right. That son of a bitch I hate that son of a bitch. And so I knew even back then, I was like, there's something about that orange son of a bitch I don't trust. So
that's funny because when I stopped through the store and I told you, I said, I'm gonna grab this Hulk Hogan for my son, you gave me the eye roll, like, oh, I was like, hey, he doesn't know all about Hulk Hogan yet. He still thinks Hulk Hogan wrestles currently, so he'll find out. He'll find out later. All the extra stuff, but yeah,
as long as you don't watch that sex tape, he'll be all right. But
he is not watching that one, Thomas. Not anytime soon.
I hope but
yeah, down the road.
But you watched the end of WrestleMania 4 with him coming in and just ruining Randy Savage's big moment. And you can just tell that guy's a douchebag. But all right, so we got Dusty, Eddie Gilbert, and Magnum T.A. Trying to think.
Not Hulk Hogan is not going to be the last.
Definitely not. None of that. I'm trying to think if there's anybody really today, but no, I'm not sure.
Do you get into Cody at all?
I'm gonna cheat and go Jim Cornette because I love Jim Cornette.
Yes.
I love Night Express.
Shout out Jim Cornette. Shout out Jimmy. Love you, brother. Best podcast on YouTube.
One of my favorite moments of all time is when he finally turned on the dynamic dudes and the entire audience screamed in approval. It was great.
Yeah, I'm glad you put Jim Cornette on there. He was actually my next question. I was going to say, so you're a Jim Cornette guy because when I ask people that, it's either one way or another. There's no really in between. I guess some people kind of see that, some people will give him his credit and, acknowledge what he's done for the business, but some people won't even do that. And to me, that's absolutely asinine and mind blowing because he's been in the business since he was a teenager, getting in as a photographer, and the territories and promotions that he's worked for and people that he's worked under. I mean, he's a historian of the business and a genius in the business. So it's like, that's why he's like we talked about. He's better off just sitting at home doing his podcast, making more money doing that than he would be being stressed out and contributing anything to any company nowadays that probably wouldn't take his advice in full or really listen to what he had to say anyway.
Well, I think the thing about Cornette is, bless his heart, he doesn't get along with people too well. So his personality drives some people away, but you can't deny what he's done.
Mm-mm.
I agree with, I'd say, a good 80% of what he says because I grew up watching that type of product. I mean, I remember the first time I saw The Undertaker, and I'm like, what the hell is this happy bullshit? I still don't like Undertaker for that reason because I came into it as this is something where you could suspend your disbelief and believe it's real. We all knew that it was predetermined back in the day. I mean, you had to know, but you could watch it and forget. And in the NWA, you had two guys beating the hell out of each other for reasons that seemed reasonable at the time, and they weren't like freaking magical zombies or bullshit like that. And
when they started bringing in like the whatever, the spooky whatever craziness into it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you, McMahon tried to make it appeal to children, and by doing so, he made it more inherently ridiculous. And there's always going to be a lot of silliness, a lot of homoeroticism in wrestling. But you can take it seriously and have something that you can buy into, And I love the silliness and the homoeroticism. Don't get me wrong. There's just something that's fun about it. But in the end of the day, I want to just watch it and forget that it's a performance and just root for my guy to kick the other guy's ass.
Yeah,
and I got a zombie fighting his burnt amnesiac brother. while Pimp is in the background and a freaking garbage man, it makes it harder to suspend that disbelief.
Yeah, it definitely took some legs of its own and mutated somewhere down the line. And I think it's crazy when people say, "Oh, that's fake," or whatever, because like you said, you gotta disband disbelief. Do you need a
Yeah.
pause?
Yeah, I got a felony.
All right, we're back. Sorry, we had to take a little brief pause. Again, we are live at the store at Strasburg right now, Flea Market. Good,
Yeah,
Thomas, you got to say something?
yeah. But I wanted to say something because we were talking about Jim Cornette and how like that moment where he turned on the dynamic dudes is one of my favorite things. I love see to me a lot of times the crowd makes wrestling.
Yes.
And then my favorite match of all time is one that's not that great. It's the opening match of Halloween Havoc '92, which is the pay-per-view with Sting, Jake Roberts, spin the wheel, make a deal, all that bullshit. But the opening match was Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, and Michael Hayes, and they were wrestling a young Shane Douglas, Tom Zink,
Dang.
and this guy, Johnny Gunn, who later became Salvadori Sincere.
Oh, Tom Brandy.
Yeah, from the Mark Marrow thing, right? And this match is just pretty much, it starts out the same as damn near every WCW opening tag team match because they always have it. Usually is freaking the Freebirds, and not the real Freebirds or I don't know, it's real, but not the ones I grew up with. It's the Jimmy Garvin, Michael Hayes.
Yeah.
They open more freaking WCW pay-per-views. Them or Tom Zink or Mark Marrow were in the opening match of every freaking pay-per-view for a decade, I think, But you have this match, and it's in Philly, right? So the Philly fans are shitting on the babyfaces because they're terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been a Shane Douglas fan, but babyface Shane Douglas is the worst shit you ever seen in your life. So all of a sudden, they start getting behind the heels. And Michael Hayes starts realizing this. He starts playing to the crowd. And they are going nuts. This is a wild freaking crowd for these guys. I mean, Arn Anderson at one point freaking motions and the entire audience erupts. I love Arn Anderson, and he never got his dude. To see him working a crowd like he's freaking John Cena is amazing to me. And that match always makes me happy just because you get to see these guys being appreciated. Freaking Bobby Eaton, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and arguably to me, the Midnight Express is the greatest tag team of all time. And you get to see him just get loved because the guy was. If you read as many wrestling books as I do, and I read tons of damn things, one of the only people nobody ever says anything bad about is Bobby. At one point, Bill Dundee found out that that his daughter was dating a wrestler, and he lost his shit because he knew that these wrestlers were carnies and terrible people. And he's like, "Why the hell would you date a wrestler?" And his daughter was like, "But it's Bobby Eaton." And he's like, "Okay, that's different then."
Yep.
They were married until he passed. He was just everything I've read, he's just a lovely guy. And to see him getting that type of attention just makes me happy.
He was a little bit before my time, but what I know about him and what I've seen and read, I've never seen one person say anything bad about him. I mean, he's always been either it's good hand. He was super light in the ring. Again, just a nice person outside of the ring. Didn't cause any issues. Soft spoken, and people accredit him as being like one of the most underrated talents out there.
Oh yeah, and did you read Mick Foley's books?
I haven't.
Okay, you should definitely at least read the first one. It's a really good book.
Is that the Have a Nice Day one?
Yeah. He tells story, he's on the road with the Midnight Express, right? Driving down the road, and they stop, and he can't find either of them. And like, where's Bobby and where's Stan? Well, Stan comes out with, I think he's got a big old bag with like some baby oil and all this stuff. Stan was the late
pre-Diddy era.
Oh yes. And then they're looking for Bobby Eaton, and here comes Bobby Eaton out of a store with a homeless person. He had bought him a sandwich and I think a Coke. And I'm just like, that's just
awesome.
That's
awesome. That's the definition of someone that'll give you the shirt off their back.
Yeah, and I mean that's the type of behavior that I would love to be able to do. Just constantly just help people, because I mean, there's nothing wrong with helping people, and I tried my best to do so.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with helping people. It's just that when people realize that you're someone that likes to help, and then they start taking advantage of that, that's when it becomes a sticky situation. But if you're someone that likes to give, and it's out of the kindness of your heart, then hey, that's what it's all about, And someone like that we just described as Bobby Eaton doing what he just did, not that many people like that in the world, and let alone in the wrestling business. You know what I mean? Because we know there's plenty of characters, and the word you used earlier, carnies, in the wrestling business that will take you off the first chance they get. So yeah. So do you watch modern wrestling much?
I try. And I fail.
Did you watch this past WrestleMania 41?
No, I started, and then I don't know. I'm going to watch it eventually. Don't get me wrong. But the problem with modern wrestling, at least with me, because I usually don't have time to watch it as it happens. So I try to watch it the next day or so at the shop, because I've got the TV hooked up with the Peacock and everything. But freaking internet spoilers, man. I mean, it's like, and I still haven't watched like the second night of last WrestleMania because everybody ruined the ending. So it's like, when you know all the exciting shit that's going to happen, it kind of doesn't. You don't have the will to sit through a freaking 7-hour pay-per-view if you know all the exciting shit. You know what I'm
saying? Same thing with me when I watch UFC. I'm a big UFC guy, and I have to like if it's a pay-per-view on a Saturday night, like I'll have to stay off of social media deliberately on Sunday, because if not, the first thing that comes up on my feed, oh, this person knocked this person out, this person lost the belt, blah blah blah. And it's like, I can't even open my phone to make a call or whatever without it, all this shit coming up, and then I don't even want to watch it, or I have to watch it now knowing the results of it. And it's just kind of like, not that you can't watch it, but it's just kind of like, it takes the fun out of it. I mean, especially in wrestling. Like,
no tension.
I'll watch wrestling knowing who won, but at the same time, if I don't know who won, it makes it even that much better. You know what I mean? Like,
but you don't have that tension. You don't have the, you don't have that, oh my God, what's going to happen, because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, they're not able to play with your emotions because you know where it's going to end up. So, yeah, that's unfortunate, but I know a lot of people like me. For instance, like I stopped watching wrestling for like 6 years a while ago, and I think 2016 or so is when I started getting back into it, like the NXT Black and Gold era. I started getting back into that, and then I started getting back into WWE. Then AEW started. I was a big AEW supporter day one, and about 3 years in, they lost me somewhere along the way. Do you watch it? Yep. Okay. Yeah, so AEW, do you watch much AEW at all?
I'm trying, now that they put it all on Max, I'm trying it.
Do they have like the first episodes on there? Is that how they're doing it? Like, is it the first season, I guess?
What they did is they put a bunch on, but they haven't put everything on. So I am watching. They've got it labeled AEW Archives. So you put it there, and it's like Dynamite and Rampage in order. So I've started that a little bit. I hate the Young Bucks. I always have. I remember when they showed up in TNA in Generation Me.
Yes.
Now, this is just, it's like the freaking wish version of the Hardy Boys, you know?
Do you know the nickname that Cornette calls them, right?
What's that?
You know the nickname that Cornette calls them?
Which one's that again?
The Hardly Boys.
Oh, yeah.
The Hardly Boys.
And that's, I mean, it's true. It's just like, and I hate the fact that the super kicks have been devalued, and they're a big part of it. Because
Yep, the
back in
super kick
day,
party.
man, that was a finisher, and I'm talking pre-Shawn Michaels. I mean, Chris Adams had a freaking super kick that was amazing. That was the first one I ever saw.
Well, they have a book out called Killing the Business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's based off of that, like the excessive amount of super kicks, the excessive amount of high spots, all the things that people like Cornette and everybody says, hey, you guys are killing the business. So they decided to write a book called Killing the Business to basically stick it up everyone's ass, I guess, so to say.
Well, I mean, you can make fun of it, don't make it not true, though. I mean, it's like, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love Japanese wrestling. I it's amazing to watch. But when you see a son of a bitch take a pile driver off the top rope through a table and then kick out at 1.5, it kind of loses all credibility.
Yep. That's kind of like a lot of where AEW loses me, along with the lack of storylines and stuff like that. I'll give you a particular match. I think it was Revolution. It was Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. They had a cage match, and they did high spot after high spot after high spot. And I mean, like, there's barely any selling in between. These guys are both bleeding, licking each other's blood, doing all kind of shit. And like, I love like deathmatch wrestling. I watch ECW, I watch GCW, I watch hardcore shit. But I think that stuff also deserves its own avenue or its own category. You know what I mean? And if you have someone like an AEW that has a national television deal, I don't think that you should be doing like needles in your mouth and crazy drinking each other's blood, because these are all things they've done on their own television. So it's like shit like that will lose your national TV deal, or Max might say, hey, we don't want to be a part of this. You know, that might just be me talking, but you know,
Well,
usually that's the type of thing that you'll lose sponsors, things like that. So
there's a reason why CZW has like the fan base size it does. You know, there's not a
niche market
deal for death matches. I mean, it can be part of the. That's the thing about wrestling. It should be like the circus. If you don't like the clowns, there's a monkey on a motorcycle coming. If you don't like that son of a bitch, we got the elephants coming. And if you don't like that, we got something else coming. If you have all sorts of different types. But if you have the same damn thing over and over again, like say TNA back when they used to do Lockdown, every freaking match is a cage match. I don't even. Are they still doing Lockdown?
I don't think they do that anymore because of that reason. It's the same, like you said, same thing.
Yeah. So it's like at a certain point, you just quit caring.
Yeah, you know? it's and I think I'm a unique type of fan, I guess you can say, because like I'm someone who loves Jim Cornette and then also loves deathmatch wrestling. And one would say that those things do not go hand in hand, but I like it both. And that's why I think that I'm a wrestler. Like, people try to always paint me in a certain category, like, oh, you're just a WWE guy and you hate AEW because of this. It's like, it's not true. Like, I like it all, but I like to call it bad when it's bad, and if it's good, I'm gonna acknowledge it. I'm not someone that's gonna I don't just shit on AEW. I don't just shit on TNA or WWE. Like, if it's bad, I'm gonna call it shit, and is what it is.
Hardcore wrestling has always been a part of wrestling. I mean, look at the Sheik in Detroit. Look
even back in Memphis.
Yeah, the Memphis shit. All that. I mean, it's always been here, part of wrestling. So I think, if you're a true fan, you have to appreciate all aspects.
Yeah. So I seen this come up recently, right before our interview. I think it was yesterday or the day before. It's called the 7 Wrestlers Theory, and I'm sure you'll probably see it coming up on a lot of other socials or what have you on the internet. But it's going to be 7 quick little rapid fire questions that I'll ask you, and I just want you to give me the first thing that comes to your mind, okay? And then we'll go ahead and wrap things up, and I'll let you get on to the rest of your day, Thomas. But the first one I'm going to ask you is, this is wrestlers. So the one that made you fall in love with wrestling.
probably Magnum T.A.
Okay.
He was my first hero in watching wrestling.
Okay. Your newest favorite wrestler, and I know you said you don't watch too much new, but as close to, I guess, modern time as you could get.
Well, I mean, I do catch, like I said, I do try to catch things here and there. All right, I'm going to preface this by saying this guy is a piece of shit. He's a horrible fucking person if he gets hit by a piece of a goddamn headlight falling from the sky and crushes them. I'll do a little dance. But
give it to me.
First motherfucker to understand how to be a heel in decades. That guy is amazing at playing people.
Who was it you said?
Logan Paul. He's a person. Oh my God, he's an awful person. His whole family, oh my God. I started watching, there's this reality show on Mac about him and his family. Me and my daughter started watching. Just makes you furious because these people are terrible.
Yeah.
But
it's shameful that our society puts people like him and on pedestals and allows them to have the platforms that they have.
But the motherfucker's good at being a heel. I mean,
he is. He's natural.
Just like he knows how to play people. He knows how to piss people off.
Yeah.
And it's a talent. I know, Lord knows I have a few degrees in pissing people off, but he's a whole nother level,
Yeah. He is. I think they're positioning him right now to go against Jey Uso as Jey Uso's first title defense. So I think that'll be perfect in elevating Jey Uso because, like you said, everyone naturally hates Logan Paul. So you won't have to do much to. Yeah, you won't have to do much to get Jey Uso over in this because everyone's going to be like, "Yeah, we want Jey Uso to beat the shit out of Logan Paul."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't.
Everybody keeps buying those damn boxing pay-per-views with his brother. They're hoping somebody beats the shit out of him.
It's a cash grab. I mean, between that and all the bad business deals that Logan Paul's got into, as far as like the Prime is like it's got ingredients in there that make people sick and kills people. You know what I mean? Like that shit that shouldn't even be in there. And then all
what time it is, much less buy something they'd make. But
obviously, all his other controversies in Japan, and then the stuff that he did with like what was that? Was it crypto or the?
Oh yeah.
Not the. You know what I'm talking about, right? It wasn't crypto, but they're like.
I watched the video on that shit.
But. Yeah, I can't think of what they're called, but that was a terrible investment. What was it?
Was it NFT?
NFT. That's what it was. I couldn't think what the heck it was called, but yeah, those things. That was just. He took a lot of his fans' money for that, and it's like I think he owes people money for that still, and it's just like he's out there living his best life, and it's just I don't know. It's kind of shitty, but I think it also is our society too that promotes that kind of stuff.
Well, as a business owner, I know you can make money by ripping people off, but one, it's the wrong thing to do, which is the main thing. But two, you can rip somebody off once, maybe twice, but then they will tell everybody they know, and it will destroy your
word of mouth is too powerful.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, it's
not right.
It's not hard not to be a dick, I know it's from some people, but I mean, it don't cost nothing to be nice.
So next one I have for you, Thomas, is the one that always makes you smile.
Wrestler wise,
yes.
Curry Man.
Oh my man, Thomas, you got the obscure picks, man. I'm loving it. Curry Man because he's hot and he's spicy and he tastes great too.
Yeah, I tell you, Christopher Daniels is a hell of a wrestler, especially when you realize he didn't even want to be a wrestler when he started. He was trying to transition into acting.
Really?
Yeah, I watched a shoot interview with him. It was fascinating because this was just a stepping stone for him, and then he just had a knack for it.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, he's a hell of a wrestler.
That's always interesting to me. The ones that they may not think that they are that interested in wrestling, but they try it out, and then all of a sudden they're like a natural, and then they become a huge star like him. It's like crazy. It's like, what if this guy never did that? What would he be doing? And then just think of how many other people that could be stars right now that never took that leap, and they're just maybe Joe Schmo somewhere, and they could be a AJ Styles or Christopher Daniels or whoever. It's mind blowing, but I guess that's life, right?
It's part luck and part skill, and if you have all one,
timing too.
Mm-hmm.
The one that you missed the most.
Like when you say miss, like somebody passed.
It could be someone that passed or someone that maybe is not currently wrestling anymore.
Okay. Arn Anderson. I always loved to see Arn Anderson wrestle. Unfortunately, he hurt himself. He had to retire years ago. I mean, every now and then he'll do a spot here and there, but he can't, perform. But
yeah,
that was amazing. He never really got his due because so much of the attention was given to Flair.
I was gonna say he's in Flair's shadow, so to say.
Did you see when they each other?
When they what? When they turned on each other?
When they wrestled each other. I can't remember what pay-per-view, but that was a damn good match.
Oh yeah, Arn could work, and I mean Flair could work with a paper bag. So I mean, it's bound to have those two have a good match, And like I said, Flair could have a good match with anybody. Have you seen Anderson's son wrestle at all? He's nowhere near his dad. Brock Anderson is his name.
Yeah, I heard he started, but I tell you, second generation, man, it's
a hard thing.
Yeah, because I feel bad for the kids because there's so much pressure on them.
Yeah,
but I mean, talent's not transmittable,
Nope. I mean, just talking about Flair. Look at Flair, David Flair. It's not transferable. But then you have Charlotte, who Charlotte's great. But it doesn't just, like you said, it's not transferable. It doesn't mean just because your father, your mother was a star and they're talented that means that you're going to have the same attributes and you can carry over the same thing that they can. It doesn't necessarily work that way.
No.
What who's your comfort wrestler? Like someone you're like, oh, I need to just relax, chill, and would that be like a Midnight Express? I know you said that they were probably one of your go-tos, right?
Well, I tell you, I think they're my favorite to watch as a tag team, and I truly think they're the best tag team because the Road Warriors, they had a run, but once their opponents became the same size they were still wrestling like they were the big guys, and it doesn't work as well. Plus, they really couldn't go. They could do their match, but they couldn't really do anything other than that.
Yeah, you hit that right on the head. That describes them to a T. Like you said, they could do their match, but when it came to guys that were as big as them, or if they had to go longer than what a normal Road Warriors match was, it was kind of like, it kind of was lackluster, I guess.
Yeah. So it might be like a Midnight Express or a lot of time. I mean, yeah, I'll go Midnight Express. I think.
Are you a fan of FTR since they are kind of like a throwback or pay homage to the Midnight Express, or do you not like that they do that?
Well, no, I think they're a good tag team. I think that one bald fellow takes himself way too seriously, though.
Dax, yeah, he even on social media he says a lot of goofy stuff.
Yeah, nobody wins an internet argument, man. At best, even if you prove your point, you still look stupid.
That, and it's out there for forever, so it comes back to bite you in the ass, especially if later in life you don't really feel the same way that as you did at that moment, I guess. But yeah, I think they're a top tag team. I wish that they would do more with them. I know they recently just turned them heel in AEW. I was there in Philly, AEW Dynasty. That was my first AEW event. They turned them heel against Adam Copeland, or formerly known as Edge. So hopefully, they'll put them up against maybe like the Hurt Syndicate, which is Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, who are the champions right now. But yeah, I think they're a top team, and they elevate anyone that they get in the ring with. I got two last questions for you here, Thomas. This one is the one that you would protect with your whole life. Don't tell me Sonny.
No, that ain't gonna happen. Well, if we're just doing adorable, that little God, I don't even remember her name. The Japanese wrestler that was a freaking pirate for some reason.
Oh, Kari Sane.
Yeah, she has the best goddamn top rope elbow I've ever seen. That's some Randy Savage shit. I mean, she is really good.
It's funny you say that. My brother, he can't really stand her. He always says it's the worst elbow I ever seen.
The worst elbow is freaking CM Punk's.
Yeah, he does have a pretty bad one. He has a pretty bad one, and Joey Janela's is up there too.
Yeah, no, I think she's got a perfect elbow. I mean,
it's different. It's definitely, it sets her aside. You know what I mean? She kind of like throws her body to the side and stuff. But I think they're bringing her. I think they're trying to bring her back. Yeah, I think they're trying to bring her back, especially with Io Sky just winning the title. I think she was either backstage or they showed a picture of her like watching that match, and she was like super, super happy and overwhelmed that Io won, which she should, because I think they're really close friends in real life.
I love women's wrestling when it's done right. I mean, you look at that 90s Japanese women's wrestling, that stuff's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Bono, and then, oh, Lord, I can't remember the one's name. Real short hair, blondish, face paint. She's amazing, too. You know, it's just, there's a couple guys on YouTube I watch. Their channel's nothing but old, like, VHS releases from Japan of women's wrestling. It's like amazing stuff.
Yeah, I've been telling myself recently that I want to do a kind of deep dive or kind of go through archives, I guess, of Japanese wrestling, especially of like 80s, 90s New Japan stuff. You know, like when like Sting was there and Hogan was going there and stuff like that, where it's like I didn't, you know, I was born in 92, so a lot of that stuff like I didn't see, and then nowadays it's hard to get a hold of unless you're on YouTube or know the right avenue to go find the stuff. But watching some of the clips and highlights I see there on YouTube or something that comes up on social media, it's like, man, that shit was, they were really laying it in. You know what I mean? The strong style was really strong back then. And not to say it's not now, but like men were men back then. And I feel like today's wrestlers are a lot of cosplayers playing wrestler from back in the day rather than being the real deal, so to say.
Well, okay, so when I started watching the AEW, I was watching their first pay-per-view. And Jack Evans and some other guy. They're a tag team.
And Helco, I think.
Combined weight, they were under 400 pounds.
One guy in there.
These son of bitches were kicking out everything.
Oh, it blows my mind. It's like, does anyone protect their finish anymore? Or do we have to have 90 false finishes in the match? It's like by the time, and then when they do the finish, it's like you did 10 other moves that were way more detrimental than your actual finish. And then we're all just sitting here like, oh, that was it?
Well,
it's
and
like,
also,
how does that make sense?
If a 250-pound motherfucker hits a 175-pound motherfucker, that little motherfucker gonna get hurt. And they don't do that in wrestling. And now, AEW is awful with it. Darby Allin, he's got a good look, he's got some good moves, but some bitch weighs a $120.
And I mean, and the rate he's going, it's like, dude, you're gonna be crippled before you're 40.
Yeah,
I mean, people have done less. You know, like a pile driver for draws was the end of his career, but then this guy's taking front flips off of a ladder out of the ring through double pane glass onto the floor. So it's like, hopefully he gets through Mount Everest, because that's what he's doing right now, climbing Mount Everest. So
they jump off it.
He probably will if he could get some views off of it, and he knew he was gonna live. But Last question I have for you, Thomas, is the one that you are rooting for the most. Now, whether that's someone who you've always rooted for, or maybe a new and upcoming guy that you or girl that you've invested in that you're wanting to see them rise to the top in this industry.
That's
I know it's a little bit of a loaded question, but
I tell you, somebody I always rooted for to break big and never did. That might be an easier one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Eric Young.
That is very true.
That guy put everything he had into that company.
Yep.
And he worked so hard. And you could tell. And it's like he never got the appreciation he deserved. But
Nope.
I think what hurt him though is the comedy stuff, because when I first started watching T.A. Towards the beginning, he would get scared by his own pyro.
Yeah.
And it was a cute thing. But
so many times you could do that though.
Yeah, but once you do that, you can't turn into the badass killer heel. You know?
Yeah.
And they to do that, they gave him like this international stable, and he wore the suit, and he was all like serious and Bond villainy. And
but you weren't buying it.
And you couldn't, because it's like, oh, it's Eric Young. You got scared of his own pyro.
I think like you said, he's someone that not only gave so much to TNA, but I think the run that he had in NXT and WWE for the brief time that he was there, he gave so much during that. I don't know if you remember, he was with a group called Sanity, and he was the leader of that. Yeah, he was the leader of that group, and they were like big in NXT. And they brought him up to WWE, and I think it was still during the Vince era, and it was during the time where Vince was bringing those people up from NXT, and he did not use them the right way in the main roster. And the same thing with them that happens to many others. They just get fizzled out and phase out. And then I think he wound up going back to TNA. I think he's in TNA right now. But again, it's not really the same. Like you said, he's the guy that I think that, he should have been given a bigger chance than what he got, or more due, I guess, so to say.
Yeah, I knew that he went to WWE, but
it was brief.
Being a wrestling fan is, if it gets you when you're young, you're going to be a wrestling fan for your entire life.
It's a disease.
But you will walk away at various points.
Yeah, because sometimes.
Yeah, because sometimes it gets so freaking bad that you just like, I can't do this anymore.
Yep.
Like,
that's why I said I stopped watching for like 6 years, because it was just so bad. It was the height of the PG era, and I was just like, I can't do this. Like, I can't, and that's why even now, like, I'm such a big fan of independent wrestling. With my son being young and getting him into wrestling now, it's gotten my love of wrestling sparked back up, and I'm going almost every weekend now to an independent show, and it's fun. And I know I heard you when I was at the store talking to a gentleman about how you kind of got spoiled having like front row tickets or close tickets to the ring at the independent shows, because it's not the same when you go to WWE or AEW and you're sitting up there or in the nosebleeds or whatever. The independence is so much fun. For anybody who hasn't been to independence, you got to check it out. You got to go.
Oh yeah, it's always a fun time. Generally, the people appreciate you coming out for the product. Yep. And and it's good to support like independent wrestling. Because these guys and girls, they ain't getting paid shit for this. They're doing it because they love it. So they love
it, and they love to perfect their craft and their art. Mm-hmm. So you have someone like a fan like us that comes out and supports that. That's awesome. I mean, just for me taking this leap of faith with this podcast, and this is my own creation. You know what I mean? And the support that I've gotten back from this, it means a lot, because I didn't think that anyone would care or anyone would like it, but people say, hey man, keep it up. It's great. So I know how that goes with someone like a wrestler who's perfecting their art and doing it real live on the fly like that. So it means a lot when you come out and you support these wrestlers. And again, most of the wrestling that you see today, they all came from independence, most of them. I mean, I know today we have a little bit of a mixture of the performance center, NIL deals, and things that are, it's a new age of people that are coming to wrestling. But most of the top guys and people that you see today on TV all come from the independent scene. So, but I appreciate you, Thomas, for coming by today and blazing at the bingo hall. If you have anything that you want to promote, social media, where can people find you? Give your store address so that they can find you as well. Anything that you want to promote, please let the audience know.
All right, well, let me pimp my wares.
Yes.
Strasburg Flea Market is located at 110 North Massanutten Street, Strasburg, Virginia, 22657. Our Facebook is facebook.com/Best on the Block. Or if you look us up, make sure you hit the one that's the Strasburg Flea Market LLC. My original account, which I had thousands of followers, I unfortunately got locked out of, so I had to restart. I'm at 600 and some. And then Instagram is at Strasburg Flea. We're open Thursdays through Mondays, so we're closed Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And our hours are 10 to 5, except for Fridays and Saturdays, which are 10 to 6. We got a little bit of everything, as you can see.
Yeah. Tons of before we go, tons of wrestling stuff here, tons of cards, collectibles, comic books, you name it, Pokemon. That's how I went down there. I was looking for some wrestling type of collectibles that I could find. I wound up walking out there with the Ultimate Edition of Hulk Hogan for my son. So yeah, definitely check it out. I know that I had seen also a Diesel. Oh, I think we lost Thomas. All right, a little bit of technical difficulty, but we're back. I wanted to go ahead and show the Razor Ramon and Diesel signed action figure that he has here at his store. And he also has a Paul Bearer and Mankind signed action figure. And these figures, I can't remember the series name, but they are from my childhood, those series right there.
Yeah, and I've got a William Regal and Bobby Eaton, both signed by both of those.
Ooh.
And I've got an AWA figure signed by Flair. And they really didn't have the rights to sell those.
Oh,
so that's a hard one to find, the Flair one.
And I know you got the Bret Hart signed there too.
Yeah, let's see. I think that's
there's Bret.
There's Jake. Slaughter, Funaki,
Hey, Funaki, number one SmackDown announcer.
Yeah, and I got, as you can see, I'm doing the cipher. Yeah, just tons of all sorts of stuff. And this is just the front room. I've got the other rooms full of stuff too.
And that's why I was blown away when you said that this is actually a smaller place than your last location. So if anyone is in the area by Strasburg, Virginia, come check out the Strasburg Flea Market. Thomas is a great guy, a local business owner, a local member of the community, and an avid wrestling fan and collector. Again, I appreciate you for stopping by Blaze the Bingo Hall. And I'm looking forward to, if you ever want to come back on to promote anything or anything upcoming, feel free to reach out to me. And reach out to Thomas, guys, Strasburg Flea.
Okay, well, hopefully that wasn't boring as hell to watch. So
no, I thought it was great. I appreciate you for coming by. And you guys enjoy the rest of your day and hit like and subscribe on the video. Appreciate you guys.
All right, thank you much.